In today's lesson, you're going to learn 7 really useful idioms that are used every day throughout the UK. And if you use them when you're in a conversation with a native English speaker, I promise you they're going to be very impressed. As a bonus, all of the idioms start with the letter W, the W sound, which I know a lot of you have trouble with. And if you do, you'll get lots of practice with this lesson. Hi, I'm Steve. Let's do this. First, let's start with this one. Win hands down. To say it correctly, join the hands to the down using the S sound. So it's hands down, not hands down. Hands down. You try. This means to win easily. It can be used in a competition.
Pirate King, Mugger 2, how impressive is this? Mugger 2 goes on to win in incredible fashion. Blue Rambler.
This horse won, hands down. Or it can be used when comparing one thing against another. This pen is hands down better than this pen. Number 2 is wet behind the ears. To say this correctly, change the to the. This happens a lot in English when the is followed by a word that starts with a vowel sound. It just makes it easier to say. So instead of saying the ears, the ears. Try it, it's easier. The ears. Wet behind the ears. Now this is used to describe someone who is very inexperienced. They've only just started to do something. For example, you might say, don't give the new member of staff anything difficult to do. They're still wet behind the ears. Okay, number 3. Waste not, want not. To say this correctly, you need to join the T sound of waste to the N sound of not. And you do this by half saying the T and half saying the N in not. So your tongue goes waste not, waste not. They sort of share the movement of your tongue. Waste not, waste not. You try, waste not. Not. Do exactly the same for want not. Want not. So instead of waste not, want not, which sounds like a robot, it becomes waste not, want not. This is said to advise you not to be wasteful with something because it might not always be as plentiful in the future. My mum used to say it to me all the time. When she gave me food on a plate, I had to eat everything on that plate. And she would say, waste not, want not. In other words, make sure you eat everything now. Because if you're unlucky in the future, you might not have enough to eat. Waste not, want not. Number 4, wild goose chase. Now to pronounce this one really naturally, use the S at the end of goose to join into the ch of chase. So it becomes goose chase, goose chase. It's not goose chase, goose chase, wild goose chase. You try. Now a wild goose chase is a task to find something. That is a total waste of time. A great example of this would be my saying, it's a wild goose chase to try and find a pair of socks that match in my drawer. Number 5, whip into shape. Now to sound natural saying this, we're going to take the P sound at the end of a whip and we're going to move it across to the front of the I sound of in. So it becomes whip in, whip in. You try, whip in. We're also going to take the oo sound from to and change it for a schwa sound. That's the little sound that's so common in English. So to becomes t. So if you put those two things together, you've got whip into shape. Whip into shape. You try it. Whip into shape. Can you hear how more natural that sounds than whip into shape? Whip into shape. This is used to describe someone who trains or coaches someone with discipline. An example of this would be, the army soon whipped the new soldiers into shape. The army soon whipped the new soldiers into shape. Number 6 is walk on air, but we don't say it like 3 words, walk on air. We join them all together. We take the k sound at the end of walk and put it onto the front of the o of on, so it becomes walk on, walk on. Try that, walk on. Then we take the n from the end of on and put that on the front of air, so it becomes on air, on air. Altogether, it becomes walk on air. It's like saying one word, walk on air. You try, walk on air. You say this to describe feeling very, very happy. For example, I will be walking on air if you click the like button. It's right there. Make me walk on air. It's right there. Number 7, a white elephant. Now this one is really easy to sound natural. All we need to do is move the t sound from the end of white and put it on to the front of elephant. So it becomes white elephant, white elephant. Not white elephant, white elephant. Now a white elephant is something that's expensive to own, but you don't get much use out of it. For example, I once had a sports car that I only used at weekends, and even then I only used it if the weather was really nice. And I live in England. The weather's not often nice. So it really was more trouble than it was worth for me to own. It was a white elephant. Do you have anything that's a white elephant? Let me know in the comments. I really hope you enjoyed this lesson and found it useful. Next, click the bus to subscribe to this channel and then click this link for another video to help you improve your English language skills. I'll see you next time.